Hey YouTube, Muchismo Eugene, another video from Exit Strategy. I'm trying this stool out. I like the panoramic area that it puts into the camera, but we'll see. I definitely had a download about something, and I want to talk about this, even though it's in times past. My reasoning for talking about this, Mia wants to get up. She's accustomed to the couch. Hey, baby. Yeah, this is something that happened to me in times past, but I know that it's going to be paramount for someone who's coming out of narcissistic abuse, and I want to share it with you guys. And if I was going to title this, I would just say be wary of the narcissist sending the next in line, or just be wary of the enemy sending another narcissist to finish you off. Now, I had made a video about shortly after the narcissist left my house. You know, I had to evacuate my own home, and sometimes you will have to leave your own home. I mean, just up and leave. There is no discussion to be had. You don't think about it. You don't talk yourself out of it. You just leave. And so I left for 3 days, and she inevitably left. She already knew I had known that she was a narcissist. Her brother told her, and that was deliberate on my part. It was a ploy, and it worked. So the thing with that is, once she left, I had befriended this elderly couple, and I talked about them in the videos about a year or two ago. And I labeled a small video, where they had came along out of the blue, randomly pulled up out of my driveway. I heard the horn honking. I looked out the window, and I went outside, because I don't have a doorbell downstairs to alert me. If anyone comes to my house, if you don't have my number, good luck getting in or getting my attention. Unless you bang on the window, throw a rock or something. It's just, I could care less. And so my circle has always been small in that way. But the thing is, I heard the horn, and I looked out. It's starting to snow a little bit. Upstate New York, no snow. So, staying on topic, they came up. I went outside, and I went out to their car, and they gave me an envelope, and they said, "This is just something, we knew you were struggling right now, and we just wanted to do something to help you." And I looked at them, and I said, "What is this?" They said, "Don't worry about it." And the husband's like, "Oh, don't worry about it, just keep it. We don't want to hear nothing about it. You don't owe it back to us or nothing." And so I'm surmising this money. I get back in my apartment house. I get to the table, and I open this envelope, and I started counting. It's $100 bills. It's 10 of them. And I went on. So I was so heartfelt about that. So I felt compelled to go on a video and make a video and say, Impulse helping Impulse. That was the title of that. If you want to see that video, go back and check it out. To my amazement, which really wasn't an amazement, shortly thereafter, God began to show. Well, let me tell you some more of this story. I told them about the narcissist. I had named it. Yeah, she's a narcissist, blah, blah, blah. I'm reading about it, blah, blah, blah. So when you're coming out of this, you're going to tell some people, and trust this to some people that you believe, that you feel, or you sense, being that they're an elderly couple. I didn't sense that in them. Of course, I wasn't awake as I was educated. The discernment was not there. You may have the knowledge of what narcissism is, narcissistic personality disorder, but when you really, really, truly take a breath, ease off the gas pedal of your knowledge and your newfound insight, and this may not happen right away, because you're probably going to go through this. You're gonna be trigger happy. You're going to be saying this word to people who you believe you can entrust, and in some cases you're going to say it to people, total random strangers in the store waiting in the line to pay for something, because you're going to see behavior. You're going to be scanning around, and you're going to see bad behavior, and the person in front of you going to look back at you and you're like, yeah, that's a narcissist. But be mindful with this word. Be mindful with this conversation. This is not something that you will hear in a roundtable discussion in Applebee's or Starbucks. And when you do hear people talking about it, being wide awake as I am, you will almost want to want to chuckle if it wasn't so sadistic and sad. These people are so unaware of what this really entails. If they knew what these people really were, they wouldn't casually be sitting around talking about it and chuckling like it's no big deal. So I told them, I began to tell them some stuff here and there, because you're venting, you want to vent. Nobody understands this, so you just just an elderly couple, you're thinking they're not gonna, even if they know about this, they're harmless. And that is the biggest deception that you could do to yourself, thinking that any and everybody that you perceive not to be narcissists are harmless. Human nature is what makes us harmful. And when you compound that with a disorder, it's game over. And you can perceive the best of people, and I found out inevitably some of them were narcissists because they were master illusionists. Their persona came off as non-conflicting, non-threatening. But this is what a covert narcissist is. They blend right in. And if your discernment is not there, your education will not show you wholeheartedly where these people are. Now, we're going to stay within the topic. I just had to put that out there because all of this is contextual. This is in context. So they began to know that I was, what I was involved with, because I was telling them. But they wasn't chiming in with any kind of academic response. Of course, most people won't. What they would say is, you need to get away from her and get divorced from her. They were speeding the process up, and I was like, yeah, you're right. What am I waiting on? I can't wait until I get sick or ill, and she has to determine whether they pull the plug. I'm thinking in my head. So I was on board with that suggestion. I was like, yeah, I gotta get some money and get a lawyer and retain a lawyer. So, but I'll work on it. I'm gonna do it. Lo and behold, his wife says, you go and talk to this lawyer. And she gave me the name of him. And what she didn't know when she told me his name was, in times past, my landlord, who I rented to, he had enlisted this same lawyer, because I remember his last name. He has a unique last name. And it's a father and son lawyer firm. And so she mentioned his name, and she said, yeah, go talk to him. He's a good friend of ours. And I said, yeah. I said, I know him. He did some litigation for my landlord in times past because he needed to get some tenants out of his apartment house, and they were trying to be squatters and da-da-da. So he said, yeah, go talk to him. And I said, I ain't got no money to pay these people for that. She said, just go and talk to him, and you let us know what you need. I go talk to the father. The father refers me to the son. I get right in there and start talking to the son. I tell the son, hey, listen, I listened to him for a few minutes. I didn't want to come off half-cocked. And so I just stayed silent. And when it was my opportunity to say something, I was very firm but respectful. I said, you know what? I really don't want to play this, back and forth with divorce and this proceeding. I know how it can go. I know how it tends to go. I say, but I just took a chance, and I said, well, I'm dealing with a narcissist here. I don't care if you know about it. I don't care, if you don't know about it. I don't want to belabor this. So tell me how much. And I was just firm, and he was like, I just probably not gonna work like that. If she's not gonna do anything, if she wants to prolong it, I said, I understand those dynamics. So with all due respect, though, let's say if it takes 6 months to a year, how much? And he said, it could be, it's about $5,000-6,000. I said, how much of that will I get back if this happens to just go right along and get done? He said, well, you could get like $1,500 or $1,000 back, it all depends. And I was like, okay. Talked to him for a few more minutes, and I said, well, okay, let me go think about it, and then I'm gonna bring you some money, and you can get started. I said, I'll probably bring you some money and you can get started. Shook his hand, left. Told these elderly couple what the lawyer had told me. They said, no problem, we'll give it to you. You just go, no, she didn't, I don't know if she said she'd give it to me. She said, hey, she said, whatever you need to do. And so she opens up her checkbook and she writes a check for $5,000. And I think she wrote it out to cash. I'm not sure about that part, but she wrote it out. I proceeded to take this check to that lawyer. I think it was the very next day. I walk in, his door is right when you walk in to the right. I walk in, his door's a little bit ajar. I walk in. He had told me the day before, you know, when you come in, just go see your secretary in the back. So as I'm coming in this next day, I look to my right and I see him, and I just kind of throw my hand up a little bit. And in doing that, this is what his response was. What is it? He said, what is it? With no expression. Now, what began to happen next in my discernment is pinnacle. And this probably is something that you have experienced yourself. And if you haven't, be mindful of who you share this information with. Because this is God showing you where the enemy is setting another narcissist to finish what that one didn't complete in you, which was destroy you. So I ended up, I began to think, wow. When he said, what is it? And I said, well, I have your check. I'm going back here to give it to your secretary as you advised me. I was just saying hello. And so in that fashion, I proceeded to the back room and I gave her the check. And I don't know, a couple of minutes went by, she gave me a receipt and I said, you guys have a wonderful day, bye-bye. I left out. I didn't say anything to him on the way out. I think his door was open, but he pretended like he was looking down, engaged in something important. They always try to look important. And so I went out of the office that day and I went back and I told these elderly people, I see I gave him the check, I told him I went in, I looked to the right, saw his door open, I spoke to him, and he said, he had the audacity to reply, what is it? Almost like he was annoyed by me being there. And at this point, I'm telling them this, you gotta understand, my discernment at that moment when he did it, it did not connect. It did, but I'm gonna show you what I did. I talked myself out of what I actually saw and experienced. And this is something you can't do. I say this all the time in my video. Don't talk yourself out of what your intuition is telling you. Don't argue with your intuition. It's not a debate. Go with your gut and your first instinct. And so, I said, yeah, you know, he acted like I was in the wrong place or I was annoying him just to be in there. And I say, I didn't even want to, you know, I didn't have no business with him. I just came to drop the check off. So being cordial, I spoke to him. And they was like, oh, yeah, no, well, at least you got him, you know, he's going to take care of things for you. And so dismissive of what had actually experienced they were, I thought that was kind of, you know, odd that they didn't think that that was an issue. You know, this guy, I'm giving you a $5,000 check and you have the audacity to make a remark like that. And not that your money's supposed to make people behave like you want to, but, you know, anything but that was just so unprofessional. And so, took issue with it, but it didn't connect at that point. As I said, I believe I talked myself out of what I saw. Now, God was allowing all of these behaviors to culminate and come together. And this is how he would do in your life. Once you earnestly want to be aware of what you're experiencing, you're not walking away from the education, understanding, the understanding of what this actually is that you've experienced. You will progressively see so many things happening with these people all around you. People that you've known in the past, you will say, wow, I didn't know. I wouldn't have known. This makes sense now. The pieces of the puzzle would fit snugly together. And so, without you even trying to force them. And so, I made a video about empaths up and empaths. and they gave me the check. I went 5,000. So in essence, $6,000 in a matter of a week. These guys just pouring this money on me. And so on top of that, they offered me land. Well, let's stay where we're talking about, because it's going to be extensive. Probably go 30 minutes, but it's going to be very, very engaging and educational for someone. So I gave them the check. I told them, the elderly couple, what had ensued, what had transpired, and so they downplayed it. I left, and I think I went home. Or no, I went over their house probably a day after that, and this is when I told them about the experience. And what I told them then, I said, after they replied in this dismissive fashion, I said, you know what I'm thinking? I think I'm gonna go back and get the check back. I don't think I want him to represent me, because I don't think he's gonna be effective. I think he's gonna drag his foot. I don't think he's interested. For one reason or another, and I didn't go in and say I think he was a narcissist. And at some point in this endeavor, I did. The light came on. It's like, this guy's a full-blown narcissist, egotistical, and the whole nine. Had so many of the traits. What I had done when I had mentioned narcissist, excuse me, I mentioned narcissist in his presence. See, when you mention narcissist in the presence of a narcissist, and you can give them in a nutshell, in a 30-second breakdown of what they are, even if you don't go into detail, just by you mentioning that word to a narcissist, what I did, in fact, I gave him a narcissistic injury. Imagine he's a narcissist. He's not going to help me. So he went on a whole campaign of decomposing, because I had been in his presence. An empath in the narcissist's presence, who's aware and makes himself aware of, he knows about the darkness. You can literally make a narcissist decompose right in front of you. Like a flower, they wither. And so, and this has been many experiences, which I'll talk about in the future. It's been this way with girls that I've been engaged with, or women. Their laughter and smile turns to a sad, sick it to the stomach type aura, and there's no conversation that we're exchanging. There's just silence. And so you look at me like, what's going on? You okay? And so I told him I'm gonna get the check back. So I went back and I said, I don't know if I told him. Either way, I got the check, and I said, I told him. I said, yeah. I said, I'm gonna think about this for a little while, and I say, I don't know if I want a divorce at this present moment. So I downplayed it like I want to consider reconciling with this girl. So I did that for the whole reason I didn't want him to even sense that I believe you are a narcissist. Because you have to be mindful. Once you step away from these people, you don't even want to give them the memo. You don't want to blatantly slap them in the face verbally saying, you're a narcissist. I don't deal with narcissists. That can be dangerous. These people know your name. They have your information. They're going to go in the smear you anyway. You don't need to pile up woes on yourself needlessly, is what I'm saying. So I politely took my check, or her check, and what I did is I gave this check back to these people. It was made out to cash. I could have gone to the bank and cashed it and had the $5,000 and got like just a cheap lawyer, and they didn't ask for a receipt back. If I was built that kind of way, looking at a payday, I genuinely thought these were people who were trying to help me, and I thought in some weird way that God had sent these people in my life. And sometimes we can confuse God sending people in our life, and we start neglecting the red flags and the things that are happening right in front of us, because we look past that and we look over into a spiritual realm that sometimes doesn't exist. Because when God is going to do something for you, He'll give you confirmation that He has something to do with that. That's been in my experience. But again, being a human in the flesh and not really relying on the Spirit to lead me and give me that discernment, I'm talking myself out of what I see. Gave it back to him, the check. And you can see, oh, okay, do what you want. That's what they said. And I said, yeah, I said, this is what I'm going to do. At this point, I really don't realize that these elderly couple are narcissists too. You see where I'm going? all of these people began to come in my life within a matter of weeks after, and these elderly people had already been around me. I met them at a salvage yard. I was taking some metal and stuff to get the yard cleaned up, and I met them. I happened upon them, and I just cordially was talking to the lady in there as we were waiting on payment, and I saw a pink John Deere hat, and I was like, "Hey, you're John Deere girl." "Yep, yep, yep. Me and my husband have matching tractor, da da da." And I gave him my business card, and what do you know? A friendship ensued, I thought. Invited me out to their property. I don't know where they get money from. They said it was invested in sheep years ago. They worked at department stores together. That's where they met, blah, 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 blah. They had said some things to me in times past, too, along the way in the friendship endeavor. The husband specifically would say, "Oh, you know, the kids don't come around. They don't like us." Just dropping hints. They live in this mobile home that's been paid for 30 years ago. That would explain how they're able to just, keep their money. They both retired. I don't know what these people could be into behind the scenes, but I do know this. Listen to me carefully. Once I gave them that check back, they had a sour conversation about that, almost like, whatever you want to do. The support just seemed like it was dwindling. And on top of that, the $1,000, the $5,000 check for the lawyer, then they, at some point before I gave them the check back, they had said they were going to give me some land. I could build my house over on the land he had. He had like 75 acres. And where he wanted me to build it at was like right up the road, like maybe 300 to 500 yards away from their house. He said we get a perk test and all that, and I can just start, we start like clearing it. So they went over and got a perk test. The guy came out. He said, the old elderly guy said he'd pay for it. I said, "No, I want to do something." He said, "No, don't worry about it." So we got a perk test years ago. It didn't pass. He said, "Probably not going to pass this time." So he's like breadcrumbing me, telling me that he want me to get this land, give me this land, but he's saying he has no optimism about it passing. So this is how they plan this push-pull thing. They want to see how much you care. It's like, yeah, it'll pass, gotta think positive. And so I'm thinking my twins and I, we can move out in the country, get away, start a new journey. So the guy comes, he does the perk test, it passes. All while this guy was trying to set up, he's like, "I know it's not gonna pass." This guy, you wouldn't believe, this elderly guy just went on and on and on in the negative. And it was messing with me emotionally, believe it or not, subconsciously. Looking back, this made me really unsettled in my spirit. And this is what people around you who are narcissists will do. They will continue to churn the knife of your emotions. They know you're an optimistic person. They know you are a positive thinking person. Your energy is light, not darkening. And they continue to try to put it out in words and deed. So the guy did the perk test, it passed. So I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna bring the excavator. I'm gonna rent one, the bigger one, and I'll operate it. We'll just come out and I'll just clear it up." "No, you don't have to do that. I got my little compact tractor." I said, "That'll take all day." I say, "If you just want to play with stuff out here, I mean, that's fine." I said, "But I can use the bigger machine, and if you want to use the smaller machine, we'll work in tandem." "Oh, do what you want." That's the second time I heard that. That was their favorite thing. Do what you want. When you don't take a narcissist's advice or go the way they want, that is like the little kid in them. "Oh, do what you want." They take their toy and they go home. They don't want to play. They take their basketball and they go home. Leave you standing there. Can we just use the ball? And so, and that was real experiences growing up. Guys, if you didn't pick them, they would take their ball and go home if you didn't pick them. A lot of narcissism there. So anyway, I went home. I said, "Yeah," I said, "we'll work it out together." And actually, I spoke to him on the phone, I think, about getting the bigger machine the next day. I said, "Yeah, I'm going to bring the bigger machine up." And he's like, "No." I said, "Oh, do what you," he said, "Do what you want." And he hung the phone up. And so I called back. I was like, "This is sort of weird." And so I'm calling back because I'm like, in my subconsciousness, I'm panicking. I'm like, "Man, I hope I don't annoy him. He's trying to give me this land." Can you see how they hang the carrot for you? And so, because you're not doing exactly what they wanted, they're the directors, you're the characters. Play your part. They don't want you to think for yourself. And he knew me being the type of man I was, empath I was, but the narcissists will try you. They are betting on the fact that they can get you and sway you their way. All the while you're showing them that you're a type of person. They try to make you compromise on your boundaries, is what they do. And so I called him the next, he hung up and I called back. And his wife answered the phone. I said, what's wrong with your husband? Why is he acting like that? I said, he's getting so sensitive. I said, the only thing I said, we both will you be using machines. I'll get the bigger one because I don't want to spend a whole day when I can get a bigger machine, or 3 days when I can get a bigger machine and get it cleared in one day. He's like, I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Do what y'all want to do. Leave me out of it. I was like, no. Her name was Mary. I said, Mary, it's not leave you out of it. I say, your husband and wife, I need for you to help me understand. Why did he get so sensitive when all I was saying? I said, can you help him understand? Nobody's trying to tell him not to use the compact tractor. I said, this is something that little children would do. Why would he hang the phone up? She said, I don't know. You guys do what you want to do. And so I said, okay, talk to him. And I said goodbye. I said, I appreciate you guys, and hung up. And so I called him back a few days later. They didn't even answer the phone. And called him back, gave him a couple more days and called him back. All the while I'm thinking, man, I hope these people don't change their mind. And this is way out off the beaten path. It's like 30 miles from where I'm doing my business at right here in the city. So I would have to commute every day, thereby leaving my kids way out there in the woods. And so I ended up, they ended up texting me after a few days, maybe 4 or 5 days. This is what her text said. She said, hey, we are just going to leave things the way they are. No offense, no love lost, pretty much, I'm paraphrasing. If you still want to be friends, fine. If not, have a happy life. So they're giving me the option if we want to still be friends, but indirectly they're telling me all bets are off for the land. But they didn't say that specifically. I might have said, I don't think this is going to work out. If you still want to be friends, fine. If not, have a happy life. That's kind of the way it went. So that was telling that we don't want you to have land now. And so it was kind of like a hit in the gut. Because I told my children about it, and I said, they had said, oh, bring the kids out and look at the space. I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. I think I want to wait until everything is sort of secured and we get moving with this. And I don't want to get them excited for it, get their hopes up. And he's like, no, bring them out. So I relented. Brought the kids out. We scoured the land. Kids was running around, jumping around. Dad, this is gonna be nice. And I was excited for the kids. And so all that perk test got it approved. The guy said it would pass and everything. We could build, And it's probably gonna put like a modular house, mobile home type thing, double wide out there. Cause I'm country, I don't mind that kind of thing. And so that's what they told me on the phone days later. So me bringing my kids out there and all that hoopla we went through, I had to tell my kids that what these people did, it was just a show. Now, somewhere along this journey, I went back and I redid another video and digressing, or not digressing, but recanting what I had said about empaths helping empaths, because I had now discovered that what I perceived were empaths were in essence narcissists in line trying to destroy me. And I'm just fresh out of this relationship with this covert narcissist wife I married. So, so all deals were off with that, all because I gave them their check back, and I wanted to do things as far as the land clearing go, not a certain way, but I wanted to do things in and of myself to contribute to the process. I didn't want to belabor it, which should have been a cool thing with him being 70, almost 80 years old, but that was not to be had. It was all about the control he wanted. Now, this is the disturbing part, and I've shared this with my children. As disturbing as it is, cut through the chase, because this is almost 30 minutes. Not only will Satan send someone, another one of his goons, this narcissistic goon, to finish what the last one could not do. He will send them in a fashion to annihilate you to the point where you no longer exist. Not mentally, you physically don't exist. What I believe is what I share with my children, looking at this. These people wanted to set me up where they know I didn't have any family up here. They knew my little story, my life. They knew I had custody of my children. They knew I had a strong ability with words. They know I was a man of standard. I was primed for the picking. I did some work in their house. They gave me hundreds of dollars, which it wasn't even worth that much. They was grooming me. What I believe is these people wanted to get me out there off the beaten path. And he didn't want to sign me some of the land. He said, oh, you don't have to do that. We can just give you the land. So I'm emphasizing that too. He didn't want to document any of this. So it wouldn't have been no way for me to prove. Could have got temperamental. I'm living there. He told me get off the land. Nothing was binding. Nothing was contractual. He wanted to leave it open end. That was suspect in itself. But me asking for us to sign it off, that was a sign there too. But what these people actually wanted to do was to get me out there in this secluded place, me and my twins. And possibly, they always was offering us food, to which I would always tell my children, because I've dealt with that with the baby mama, children being sick and all this. Be mindful of the people that you allow to serve you food too, after you're coming out of this stuff, because God will show you some disturbing things in that too. And so they were going to get us out there, living out there, invite us over there and eat at their house. They love to cook. And I would have probably fell ill, very ill, to the point where I probably would have died. And they, having years of being around my children, would have probably put themselves next in line to be surrogate parents. And thereby not even legally adopting them, but having groomed my children with the affection, adoration, and all of these trinkets of money and probably physical possessions and different things like that, giving them stuff, gifts, probably buying them ATVs. Who knows? These people would have probably done anything for these kids, as far as I could see. Now, they would have done this in my demise, and these kids would have been, that would have been hook, line, and sinker. They would have been the best parents that these children would have known, short of me. But of course, I would have no longer been in the picture. I'm essentially telling you, these people were setting me up to murder me and possibly get this capitalized. And they would have invested in me. They would have insured, got an insurance policy on me and my children. Now, if they wouldn't have took me out, they could have possibly took me and my children out in a tragic accident, to the point where they would have never been a suspect, which belies why they may have this kind of money where they're able to just give me $5,000 check. Who's got that money just throwing at people who they rarely know? Now, I didn't mention to you before I go, they had went on a vacation. This is prior to them throwing all of these future faking ideas and gifts to me. They went on vacation for a week or something. They came back with a Jaguar, pre-owned Jaguar, and he bought a Maserati. And the way they talk about, we just went to an auction. We didn't plan to buy it, but I bought one, and then my wife saw the Jaguar come down there the line, and we bid it on it. And they shipped them to their residence on a flatbed, and that cost about $7,000-8,000. And the cars were between the two, upwards of $100,000. So it went on and on and on. Just a lot of foolery going on there. And this stuff didn't appeal to me. I just thought, man, you guys older in life and doing it big. So it was admirable, because I'd never seen that kind of model in a person's life up close and personal. But these things don't appeal to an empath at the end of the day. We will celebrate these things for you, but we don't do backflips and cartwheels for your success. We will just generally admire your tenacity and your drive and your achievements, and we'll give you your flowers. But we don't do the pom poms and all of that kind of stuff. At least in our true nature, we don't. If we're in the matrix, yeah, we'll go along to get along. But that even doesn't even fit. That doesn't even feel right to us. You know, we won't get excessive about that, but we will try to be cordial because in this matrix of a life, we think, oh man, we don't want to stand out and we don't want to feel like we're being disrespectful. It's just like standing and pledging allegiance to the flag. I don't pledge allegiance to the flag. I'm very American. I'm very patriotic. I know that this is a beautiful country that we live in. This is a terrible world we live in. But compared to other countries, I believe that America is a country where there are a lot of freedoms that we don't utilize, that we do have. And the ones that we think we have, we don't have. So if you understand in that context, this is a decent country to live in. But I don't get gung-ho for America per se, because God is a big God. He's the God of the world. This country is no better as far as us being better than other people. You know? But yeah, man, this is something I need for you guys to understand, and it was pressed on me. This video ran very long, but it's okay because when you're talking and you're telling a story, it does have some length to it. So I wasn't in a rush to tell you how this played out. I needed for you to just see this thing as it played out. There were so many counter assaults that came from these people that they attempted, and God allowed me to bat them all down. He put a shield around me. And just turning a narcissist down, you destroy them. So be wary. You're probably struggling when you're getting out of a narcissistic relationship. You don't have anybody to depend on. You're at the mercy of these people if you're not vigilant, because you'll take handouts or I want to say something, but for lack of a better word, you will take people helping you or the handouts from people you perceive to be solid people that mean well by you. But there is something underlining that if you're not aware of what it is, it can actually be just as detrimental, or if not worse, than the narcissist that you just got away from. And I'm able to see this in stark clarity. And I thank God for the fact that He showed me these things. I have no regrets in giving that check back for $5,000. I spent the $1,000 they gave me, rightly so. But that was just a small investment they were making to gas me up for something bigger, because they didn't get that $1,000 back, and they're mad right now because they didn't capitalize on the breadcrumbing. So I want you guys to know, be very aware, get close to God, to work on your intuition. By the Spirit of God living in you, He will guide you and direct you. He got you out of the mess you were in. You think He's just going to leave you? He's not going to leave you for dead. He's got bigger and better things in store for you. But you have to give Him your time in order to listen to His voice, so He can direct you and He can show you where the trap's at. So that being said, guys, bless.